It is popular in today's culture to hear the phrase, business ethics is an oxymoron. What this means essentially is that business and ethics are opposites. If you want to engage in business, you can't be ethical. But if you want to be ethical, you can't be in business. This cliché statement relies on both a misunderstanding of ethics and a misunderstanding of what business is and does. Before looking at what ethics means for business, let's review what business is and what business does. Let's get straight, in other words, on what business is so we don't find ourselves guided by present-day prejudices that cast business in a negative, unethical light. The best way to understand business is to bring to mind numerous examples of the many diverse businesses that exist in our society, and ask, what do all these entities have in common? Businesses range from Coca-Cola to Microsoft, to Bank of America, to McDonald's, Johnson & Johnson, to Exxon, to our local convenience stores, dentist offices, and bookstores. Even musicians, movie companies, and websites function as businesses. What do all these things have in common? First, we can say that all businesses provide a good or service to people that they regard as customers. They produce so that others can consume. But this is not the only thing businesses do. They're not mere charities. Businesses ask something in return for the products and services that they produce, namely a price. This is what distinguishes businesses like McDonald's or Hilton Hotels from charities, churches, and government institutions. The goal of charities, churches, and government services is to serve as many people as possible without asking for payment. And the source of their revenue comes by way of donations or, in the case of government, taxation. Businesses produce goods and services with the hope that they can make a profit. Businesses, after all, want to grow. From the perspective of a business operator, if you believe your product contributes to individuals' lives and well-being, you should want to do all you can to reach more people and improve more lives. Great businessmen like Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Bill Gates, and Steve Jobs all wanted to grow their business as large as possible because they knew that meant their products would reach more people and enrich more lives. They worked tirelessly to improve the quality of their products and lower its price so it could reach more and more people. Today, hundreds of millions of people have access to light, heat, sturdy shelter, rapid transportation, and lightning-fast communication thanks to these great industrial businessmen. To grow, a business needs to earn profits. Many people mistakenly believe, however, that the only way a business can earn profits is by raising its prices. Rarely, however, is this so. All the great businessmen just mentioned gained tremendous profits and grew their company to gargantuan sizes by increasing the efficiency of their production and in turn lowering cost of their products and services. Their company's growth thus represented an enormous benefit to their customers and to themselves. Let's look at some examples. Cornelius Vanderbilt, who started off as a ferry boat operator at the age of 23 years old, systematically lowered prices of ferry services in the Northeast, first from $3 to $1 on the popular New York to Albany fare, then to 10 cents, and then to nothing, making a significant profit from food and drink sales alone. As Vanderbilt entered other industries like railroad and mail services, he did the same through ruthless price cutting and efficient operation. Rockefeller lowered the price of kerosene, which at that time was used in lanterns to light one's home, from 58 cents a gallon in 1865 to 26 cents a gallon in 1870, then to 8 cents a gallon by the mid-1870s. People who previously could not afford to light their houses at night could now stay up and enjoy one another's company. Rockefeller is famous for saying, quote, "Let the good work go on. We must ever remember we are refining oil for the poor man, and he must have it good and cheap." Andrew Carnegie, whose family immigrated to the United States from Scotland, was destitute and penniless when they arrived. He worked his way up the ladder until he entered and revolutionized the steel industry. Steel was the material that allowed America to grow upward. It enabled construction of tremendous structures like the Brooklyn Bridge and the Empire State Building. Business historians Micklethwaite and Woolridge explained that within 50 years of Carnegie entering the steel industry, a dozen men in his steel mill could produce in one day as much as a whole factory could produce in 1 year just 50 years prior. In 1906, car prices ranged from $2,000 to $5,000, and only the wealthy could afford them. But in 1905, the Ford Model F sold at $1,000. Ford then introduced the Model T 3 years later and declared he would make only one model in one color for the price of $850. Sales of the Model T rose from 10,000 in the first year to 248,000 in 1913. Then in 1920, he had sales of nearly 1 million, and the price of the Model T was dropped to a mere $260. The same occurred with the desktop computer. It cost around $6,000 in the early 1980s. It had 10 megabytes of hard drive space and 64 kilobytes of RAM. And it was a bargain for many people because their alternative would have been a typewriter. Today one can find a vastly superior portable laptop for just a few $100s. These examples should suffice to show that when businesses produce goods and services in exchange for money with the aim of making profit, everyone wins, not just those directly making the profits. It's especially true, though, when another characteristic of business arises in the marketplace, namely competition. Competition comes about when two or more companies vie for the same customers as a result of producing products that meet similar needs. Within a lawful environment, competition is a healthy, beneficial element where the consumer always wins. When businesses compete, they compete for the customer. The customer is in charge, voting with his dollar on who he wants to promote in the marketplace. Consequently, when businesses compete, prices fall and quality improves. Businesses constantly have to innovate, specialize, and work harder to win customers anew when they know they have competitors nipping at their heels. It is common to hear that the free market is a dog-eat-dog world, implying that competition means violence, deceit, and only one winner rising to the top, with the customer always losing. But this is simply not true. When Walmart entered the grocery store business, for instance, some grocery stores went out of business. Generally, these were stores that did not try to innovate and did not serve their customers' needs. Those grocery stores that did survive did so by improving and offering customers something Walmart could not: a stress-free shopping experience, an upscale deli, pre-made food section, knowledgeable grocery store clerks, and wine and cheese experts who offered samples and guided customers in their purchases. The fact is, when businesses operate in a marketplace within the rule of law, they do so to the benefit of all. A business that deals with its customers by force or fraud is a contradiction in terms. It's bad business to cheat, harm, poison, or kill your customer. Once a business cheats or harms its customer, besides, it stops being a business and becomes a criminal enterprise. Thankfully, most businesses are passionate about their products and committed to serving their customers in an honest way. Business, then, can be summed up as an organization that produces goods and services with the aim of selling these goods and services for a profit, often in the face of competition from other producers. As long as producers and consumers are rational and don't expect the unearned, business is a beneficial element in human life and society. How then does business relate to ethics? We stated at the beginning that many people view business and ethics as opposites. In part, this is because people do not understand business correctly. They look at workers in unhappy positions and they blame business. They see some employees making drastically more money than others, and they say this is unfair. They see that sometimes individuals run businesses and commit crimes, and they draw the hasty generalization that all businesses are like this. But if we recognize that in a free market, individuals are free to pursue their own interests, free to quit jobs they do not like, and that business is ultimately a productive force for good, then we will not be prone to blame business and markets anytime a person is unhappy at work, envious of his coworker's salary, or commits a crime while under employment. Many people also criticize business for being too profit-driven. But why is profit bad? Would we rather a company see losses? Businesses put forth a great deal of effort for the profits they make. Consistent profits are earned over the long run only through hard work, ingenuity, a good reputation, and significant investment and risk. In the case of business owners, this risk is very real. Business owners often make personal investments and bold decisions stretching far into the future with little certainty of what conditions, competition, or government regulations will exist at the time. They have to pay their bills up front and their payroll up front, and they receive their cut only at the end of the process of production. Sometimes the risk pays off handsomely, sometimes it's a disaster. And, in fact, much of the history of business is filled with stories of heartbreak and loss. Economist Thomas Sowell explains that about a third of all businesses fail to survive in the first 2 years, and more than half fail to survive for 4 years. Business is hard work. What is a moral business, and what do moral businesses do? We've established that business as an enterprise is moral because it benefits human life and society. It makes for win-win relationships among producers and consumers. But we can judge any particular business as moral based on whether or not it performs the functions of business well. Whether it is ice cream or iPhones, candy or carriage rides, lawn care or daycare, if a business has a great product and it serves its customers well, we can say that that is a moral business. Moral businesses are ones that do all aspects of their function well. They make good products, they plan for the future, they have integrity, they treat their customers and employees with respect, and they think and plan long term. While there are many virtues good businessmen embody, we will look at 4 here: productiveness and innovation, honesty, integrity, and rationality, long-term thinking. Productiveness and innovation is one important virtue all businesses strive for. It is in the nature of business to produce. The better, more efficient, more innovative a company is, often the more prosperous it will be, and the more value it will bring to those associated with it. Honesty is the recognition of reality and the refusal to try to deceive oneself or others. Many businesses, from Firestone to Tyco to Health South, have damaged their reputation, hurt stockholders, and injured their customers as a result of being dishonest. Former BB&T CEO John Allison states that one reason the financial crisis of 2008 was so severe is that many people in the banking and mortgage industries deluded themselves into believing that housing prices would continue to rise indefinitely. Integrity is another crucial virtue. Integrity is loyalty to one's values and principles. Integrity is earned over time by consistently performing well, producing good quality products, and forming honest, mutually beneficial relationships with those one deals with. Over time, companies that show integrity earn a strong reputation in the marketplace and are seen as reliable and trustworthy. Customers and employees know they can trust a company that has integrity, and this leads them to become loyal supporters of it. For nearly 100 years, Ford and Firestone had a long-standing partnership, as many businesses have with their suppliers. Apple has developed a fiercely loyal customer base, as have companies like BMW and Starbucks. Lastly is the virtue of rationality, or long-term thinking. Rationality is the commitment to reality-based thinking and using one's mind to the best of one's ability. It means using one's mind actively as opposed to thoughtlessly, evasively, or making decisions based on fear, conformity, or mere appearance. In business, this means striving for competence and mastery of one's field. Our mind is our tool of survival. To try to use anything else, emotions, intuition, imitation, is to invite disaster. For a business to be a successful one, it needs good, clear, rational thinkers at the helm. Leaders who will not be swayed by fads, duped by industry pressures, or government nudges. If a business hopes to last decades, or in the case of some corporations, centuries, they need rational leaders who think and plan long range. They need leaders who will commit to innovation, to meeting customer needs, to appealing to. When businessmen act morally and strive to be virtuous, they are a tremendous force for good in society. They enrich our lives, make life easier, more comfortable, more exciting, more inspiring, safer, healthier, wealthier. It's largely thanks to business that mankind rose out of the stark poverty, pollution, and disease-ridden world we were born into. It is businessmen we should thank for the modern, technological world we live in. As we will see in the next lesson, the only thing holding us back from future progress is distrust in business and the belief that government can better solve our problems and manage our affairs.